Hey, futurist Jim Carroll from the virtual broadcast studio, speaking to you about the future and specifically speaking about some of the headlines which are defining our world and our path to the future today. Today I'm going to talk about Tesla. It's certainly in the news a lot. They've redefined a lot of the automotive industry in the last several years. And we certainly have seen a lot of automotive companies rushing to try and put the message out there that they're in the electric vehicle business, that they are in a competitive race with Tesla. Are they really? I want to take apart the headlines and put in perspective the reality of what is really going on. All of this was really accelerated in terms of the public consciousness when Elon Musk was just named as Person of the Year. There is no doubt he is reinventing entire industries, the space industry, the automotive industry, the energy industry. Here's what I've learned about Elon Musk. There's some people who absolutely love him. He is an innovation and disruptive thinking superhero who is certainly changing the world. At the same time, there's a whole bunch of people who absolutely hate him, hate Tesla. You can see this with what happens on the stock market. There's no middle ground, it seems. But what I want to try and do is take it apart, put it in perspective. Now, look, I've been talking about Tesla for a long time. I like to think I sort of predicted their business model way back in 2003 when I was with Daimler Chrysler over in Stuttgart, Germany, and predicted a business model in which you would buy your car online, that it would be based on batteries, it would be electric. I spoke about this at a lot of conferences through the years, and a good case in point is a manufacturing conference in 2017. Where I talked about the big, bold moves that Tesla was willing to make, and I brought out what they had in their SEC filing, their Securities and Exchange Commission filing at the time. They basically wrote that, look, we're bringing the Model 3 to market. We have no idea how we're going to do this. They actually wrote in the document for investors that we have no experience to date in manufacturing vehicles at the high volumes that we anticipate for the forthcoming Model 3. And to be successful, we're going to have to figure out a lot of stuff. We're going to have to develop efficient, automated, low-cost manufacturing capabilities, processes, and supply chain capabilities that we really don't have right now. They basically said to investors, we don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to figure it out. And I know in the Q&A at this particular conference, a lot of the engineers in the room were asking, do you really think they're going to be able to pull it off? Well, here we are in 2021. And the fascinating thing for me is I joined the club this year. I got a Tesla Model 3 in August. We moved to a new home. I've got solar on the roof. We upgraded our electrical panel so that I've got in-garage Tesla charging. And I've had the opportunity to experience the Kool-Aid over the last 4 months. And I've done a lot of thinking in terms of what I've spoken about, where we're going in the future for so many years with the Tesla business model and the reality of what is occurring on the ground. Look, I've got posts on my website, like 54 things you haven't thought about with self-driving car technology, which really take apart everything we're dealing with in terms of our path to the future. So what I want to do here is I want to take apart the headlines and put in perspective the reality of what is occurring. And I'm going to do that with what is called the Gartner Hype Cycle. Now, Gartner is a technology research firm. And they said that, look, any idea, any disruptive trend, any technology which comes to our world, it goes through this curve. We get the trigger, it appears. We get this incredible range of hype around it, the peak of inflated expectations. And then everybody realizes it's going to take a lot of work to make it go. So, we hit the trough of disillusionment. Eventually, there's the slope of enlightenment and the plateau of productivity. Every single idea, every single trend, every single item we're using in our world today has gone through the Gartner Hype Cycle. You can put electronic commerce on it, and from 1997 up to today's reality, e-commerce followed the curve exactly. What I want to do is I want to put in perspective what is really happening in terms of my experience with Tesla and what I've observed. So are there some things that are at the peak of inflated expectations? Where are we at the trough of disillusionment? Where might we be in terms of the slope of enlightenment? And, where are we actually at the plateau of productivity? The thing about the Gartner Hype Cycle is this is all about timing. And this is a trend I spoke about in my 19 trends for 2019. The issue of timing, getting timing right is critical to understanding the future. If you can take a trend and you can get the timing right, you really are well grounded and well prepared for what's going to come next. And when you take apart what is going on with vehicle technology and smart mobility and self-driving and electronic vehicles, every single aspect of what is occurring here is at a different place on the Gartner Hype Cycle. So let's take it apart. And in my personal view, where do we really see Tesla today, and what does that mean for our future? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, a particular issue, and I'm going to give it, outline where I perceive it to be in terms of the ranking. I do this with full knowledge that there are some people who absolutely hate Tesla. There are people who love Tesla and everything it represents. And so, look, any opinion you express here can be met with rounding disbelief, dislike, or absolute love. So let's take it apart in terms of what I've been through. Number one, vehicle charging. A lot of the discussion of the Tesla haters is that it doesn't work. Electric vehicles aren't the future. It's simply not going to survive. Look, my experience, they've absolutely nailed it. The whole issue of range anxiety has disappeared. I've never had a period of time where I have experienced the concern that comes from I'm not going to be able to get there. I'm not going to have the capacity. I can get 400 kilometers or say 275 miles out of my vehicle, but everything they've done with the infrastructure is such that when you need to charge, how you can charge, where you can charge. It's really not an issue. The issue of business model disruption. Look, 10 years out, most car dealers are not going to be in existence because they really don't lend a lot of value to the entire process. You buy your car online, and that's it. There's a very limited number of models, a very limited number of options, and I think this is really going to be the pathway forward for the future. And I've been saying this at automotive dealer conferences for years, that if you're not lending value to the equation, you really don't have a future in front of you. The big trend is that cars are becoming computers. The phrase I use is that cars are becoming rolling, hyper-connected digital technology platforms on wheels with big batteries. And Tesla has this absolutely nailed. I mean, your car is in the garage, you get up in the morning, there's been a software update that has rolled out. There's some type of safety issue that one of the regulatory bodies might express concern about. What does Tesla do? They roll out a software update. What does Volkswagen do? They require you to physically bring your vehicle into a dealership to get a software update. I mean, Tesla has nailed the car as a technology platform to such a degree, it is simply staggering. And the cool thing that you get with this is your car comes with an API. If you're a computer geek, this is important. What it is an application programming interface. It allows organizations to write software that can talk to your car and pull data out of your car. And as a technology geek myself, I mean, the data I get on my charging, on my driving, on my performance, on my efficiency, all these statistics that come with the car, I mean, it truly is something absolutely magical. Navigation technology, they've absolutely nailed it. It's at the plateau of productivity. You will notice every single ranking I'm giving so far, Tesla is at the plateau of productivity. I have not found anything yet to quibble about. Now, I haven't had a lot of experience with service and support. I know there essentially is not a lot. When you read the car manual, it says, change your windshield wipers, top up the brake fluid, top up the windshield fluid, and check in with us every once in a while if you need to. There's really no service and support. Once you eliminate the internal combustion engine and oil and gas and diesel and all that stuff, there's a lot of maintenance which simply goes away. The cool thing is your phone, if you have a service issue, you simply make your appointment through the phone and they'll actually drive to your house to fix something if you need it done. From a business perspective, I think what Tesla has done is they've redefined what it means to operate at speed in fast emerging industries. There's a show that I put on my site which actually got thousands of views after it went online about the chip shortage. And what I really put in perspective is the chip shortage in the world of automotive and transportation is not a chip shortage. It's a pure example of where automotive companies have failed by aligning themselves to what happens when your industry becomes a computer-driven industry. And Tesla has not suffered from this problem because they learned how to source different chips and how to rewrite the software to work with those different chips and simply make the chip shortage issue go away. So from a business agility and speed perspective, they're certainly on the plateau of productivity. Look, cars are becoming like iPhones. We're going to replace them faster. Design matters. The design externally, the design of the dashboard, your dashboard is becoming like your iPhone. And I think certainly everything that Tesla has done with a car as a design platform, doing the beautiful things that we can do, for example, what Steve Jobs was doing with an iPhone, they're absolutely on the plateau of productivity. Which brings me to one of the things that most touted with Tesla, self-driving technology. And in my personal opinion, I think we're on the peak of inflated expectations. And my experience has been this. I paid the money for full self-driving. It's not full self-driving. The basic car comes with what's called autopilot. And if you immerse yourself in the Tesla community, you will find a lot of people talking about what they call phantom braking. And that is where your car is driving along and all of a sudden it simply slows down, sometimes almost violently so. You can find all kinds of stories about this. And this issue seems to have become worse during 2021 when Tesla underwent a major engineering redesign of their car, moving from one technology to another technology to try to accelerate the self-driving platform. Here's my conclusion. We're not quite ready. Here's my conclusion. I think I'm essentially paying money to participate in a beta test. For me, that's okay because this is related to my business. But here's an interesting way to think about what is going on. There's a fellow I follow on Twitter called the Whole Mars Catalog. That's the name of the Twitter account. Kind of fascinating. I've never seen a guy tweet so much. I'm kind of worried about his food patterns because he seems to spend a lot of time at fast food joints. But if you follow him, he put up a fascinating post. Which really put in perspective what is going on with his perspective of self-driving. If you look at it a year ago and you look at it today, it is like a night and day transition. So certainly, while some of us are not experiencing what we thought we would experience with this aspect, he had another post that he said, imagine if you showed a Tesla to somebody in 1990. The car is processing video of its surroundings and rendering a 3D vector space in real time of where it's traveling. On the right side, you see satellite aerial imagery of where you are. The car has fast internet and it's got Netflix. So while I think, they're at the peak of inflated expectations with what they're talking about with self-driving, it is certainly moving along fast. It is certainly accelerating fast. And for me, well, one aspect of my mindset says it's not worth the investment to pay for the so-called full self-driving technology when it's not. The other side of it, side of my mind says, yeah, but you're really participating in one of the most unique computer experiences, development experiences to have ever occurred, and you get to be a part of it. And to me, that's kind of important given what I do. So where are we with Tesla today? Overall, I'd put them on the slope of enlightenment. I think they own the future of the automotive industry. The key thing is they've learned how to scale. If you go back to that 2017 SEC filing where they said, we have no idea how to bring out the Model 3 in volume, but we're going to figure it out. Well, they figured it out. I mean, they've gone from 2,000 cars to 2012 to 1.3 million projected in 2022. They're about to bring on massive manufacturing plants in Austin, Texas, over in Germany, and in Shanghai. They're learning how to scale. And that, I think, is the most powerful thing because they've succeeded at so many other aspects of the automotive industry of the 21st century. And as they figure out the scale issue, it's really fascinating where they're going to go. And I think automotive manufacturers are admitting this. So to me, one of the most interesting things through 2021 was when the CEO of Volkswagen invited Elon Musk in to talk to his leadership team about where the industry is going. And that was an admission by VW, the CEO of VW, who I think is one of the most brilliant individuals out there, willing to accept that the reality of his future has forever changed by inviting in your competitor and saying to your team, this is the guy setting the pace. That more than anything says to me that with everything Tesla has done, they truly do own the future. They're charting the pathway for the future. It's going to take a lot of work for legacy automotive companies to catch up, which is going to make the next several years really, really interesting. I'm going to close by playing for you this clip from 2017 when I was on stage talking about the big, bold bets that they were willing to make. They certainly have accomplished this in a lot of different perspectives, except for one. That's it for now. Futurist Jim Carroll from the virtual broadcast studio. You know what I found to be one of the most fundamentally fascinating quotes of our time is what Tesla said in their SEC statement last year. Anybody buy one of the Model 3 cars? 400,000 people bought into a vehicle which does not yet exist. Right here. You put your $1,000 down. I put my $1,000 down. I didn't tell my wife. She got the Amex bill. You bought a what? It doesn't exist. Are you crazy? Can we get the money back? 400,000 people have bought into a dream. And what Tesla said
in their SEC filings that, look, we have absolutely no experience in doing what we need to do to bring this car to market, but we're going to try. There is an Elon Musk in every single industry who is disrupting things at a furious pace. Every morning I get up and I put a little motivational quote from a stage presentation online, pump it out to Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook. And I got up one morning and I wrote this one. We're in a situation in which companies that do not yet exist will build products not yet conceived based on ideas not yet generated, using materials not yet invented, with manufacturing methodologies that aren't yet in existence. I think increasingly that's our reality going forward, and it's going to be your ability to ingest these trends and turn them into opportunity that will increasingly define your future and help you discover what you need to do.